So, folks, I've got with me a very interesting man. His name is Anthony Strong, and he's known in the jazz communities for being a singer, songwriter, and pianist. Now, let me ask you this first. When did you actually start your musical exploration? How many years have you actually been doing this?
I mean, I when I went to university, I went to a music college for university at 18, called the Guildhall School of Music. And my teacher in my first lesson at 18, he said, "By the way, from now onwards, you are a professional. The things you do and the jobs you take matter, and your reputation will be based on this moment onwards. So get with the program." And it was great advice, and I think that's definitely true. I was sort of writing my own arrangements at 17, 18, just getting into jazz then, and then by the end of my 4 years at that music school, I was playing jazz clubs, and I had a great band, some tidy arrangements, and a friend of mine who wanted to manage me, who was a great musician himself and a very close friend of mine, and still is 20 years later. So the stars kind of aligned a little bit for me, in as much as I had a great upbringing and of musical upbringing. I had a great team around me, and then I met Matt, who's my manager, and we just both took off at the same time. So I'd say, yeah, since 16, I've been interested in jazz, really, and then since 18, I've been professional, and I've been I think I got my first record deal at age 22 or something like that, when we finished college the year, and Matt had been involved for a bit. Our first offers came when I was about 22. Yeah. Okay. And I'm 41 now, very old.
You don't look it. And the music doesn't really show the age. The last album that I was listening to your albums that are currently available, but the one I actually more had fun with was the one where you theme on, I think it's Let It Play on the Radio is the name of the album.
Me and My Radio.
Yeah, Me and My Radio. That one actually.
People say the same, actually.
Well, it's just the record itself is flashy for one. It's nicely designed. It catches the eye. That's the first one I actually jumped on. But let me ask you this: you went into an education. You came out with a degree, and did you actually envision yourself being a pianist, or did you want to have another instrument under your wing?
I think when I left my music college, so when I was just turning 18, before I went to Guildhall, my teacher said, "Hey, have you heard about this guy Jamie Cullum? Like, you could give him a run with your piano skills. You could really give him a run for his money." I think he said something like that. And I was like, "Oh, I don't know." And that night I went to the computer lab and Googled Jamie Cullum, and couldn't find anything. And I don't think it was less than 6 months later that I saw a news flash, literally on the news: young musician signs $1 million contract, and that was my introduction to Jamie Cullum. And now we've worked together a couple of times. He's a really lovely guy, great musician, and really supportive. I'm going to put you down, Miles. This is Miles Davis, by the way. Good point. But yes, so that was my first thought of like, oh, actually singer pianist could be a good thing. And then I got to music college when I was 18, and I was always in need as a pianist, especially for other singers. But I realized if I sing and play, then I can make twice as much money on some gigs. So I was like, okay, I'll do that. So I did like weddings, bar mitzvahs, the muso life. And all at the same time, garnering experience, meeting great musicians, going to jam sessions, writing with people. And yeah, at the end of those 4 years, and I also did a lot of pop music. So I guess a lot of it was miming. But Top of the Pops, which is a big TV program, was a big TV program in the UK. And I played with Charlotte Church and a few other people. I did some BBC programs as an accompanist. So I kind of built my team of musicians and nice people I like to work with up, as well as at the same time making a little bit of money, enough to make my own record, which was my sort of business card when I left music college. That Matt, when Matt got on board. So yeah, that's the way it all started for me.
Well, the fabulous start, because otherwise I wouldn't know that you existed. You decided to make it a career and you recorded albums. So currently, when you're actually composing new music, because I know that not all your albums, but at least the one me and the radio has covers of known songs that you jazzified.
Yeah.
So you rearranged it to suit the jazz need of the day. But when you're composing brand new songs, do you do it in your home? Do you do it in the pub? Do you do it in the coffee shop?
I mean, it's rare that I just like wake up in the middle of the night and go, "Oh my god, I've got an idea." I think for writing for me, it now is something that I have to sit down and do. So if it's a flash of inspiration, it'll be because I'm doing a writing session at the piano. Either I've got a little upright here in the studio.
Oh, nice.
And I've got a nice grand piano in the living room as well. So if I'm gonna have a flash of inspiration, which often happens, then it'll be because I've gone, okay, I'm gonna go write something now, and I'll play and improvise and think about ideas that I've had recently. I have less inspiration to write these days, really, just because I'm still having so much fun arranging the standards and as you said, like jazzifying sort of classic soul songs and classic pop songs. So, yeah, I haven't actually. The new record I'm working on right now, I haven't got any originals on. Some people might be sad to hear, but it's one of my favourite things I've ever made, and it's a love songs album, all love songs. It's very romantic. There's lots of different sort of corners to it. It's not all ballads and slow music. But yeah, looking forward to bringing that out. I think that's not going to be finished. I mean, I've finished the record, but the artwork and the production of it and everything in terms of making the actual physical CD as well as the streaming files. Yeah, I think it'll be out in at least sort of 3 or 4 months. So I think we're talking about August, September time.
Which is typical when it comes to a new album. Folks, if you don't know this, here's a backstory between me and Anthony. I contacted him because I actually came across the songs on one of the streaming platforms. And then we started talking, and then I proposed an interview, which is what we're doing right now. But it was delayed by unfortunate circumstances that neither one could control. He was busy with his new album, which the timing was just impossible. And then after that, there was other things that came about that both of us were unfortunately sidelined. And now we finally get together, and I'm using WhatsApp for the first time.
I hope it's recording. I hope this thing's on.
Yeah, it is. Now, Anthony, the new album that you're working on right now, do you have a working title?
Yes. In fact, I'll tell you that you can be the first to know. It's called "And Then We Kiss."
Okay, there we go.
It's an interesting title. It's very romantic, and as I said, it's love songs.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's quite a alluring title, but also it's a lyric from not one but 2 different songs on the album have that lyric.
Oh, nice.
In the song. So to me, it was like, oh, that's a great title, and I like the idea of having the album be the title of one of the songs. But in this modern age of Google devices and Amazon Alexa and everything like that, if people want to hear the song, they're going to ask for the song, and sometimes they get the album and vice versa. So I figured it's better to have not a title, but something romantic that sort of sticks out to me. Yeah, and then we kiss.
Yes.
So.
And even more so, the fact that you're not using AI for this, you're using your own talent and your own ingenuity to actually create and rearrange and place.
And some fantastic fantastic musicians. I mean, my great trio of Joel Barford, who's one of Europe's, if not one of the world's best young jazz drummers. Nick Fitch, who's an amazing guitarist, can do everything, and Spencer Brown, who's my sort of long-time collaborator on bass. And then I think we had 15, 16 string players in the end. So it's a cast of really great, talented musicians from London. No AI at all, and many hours in the studio for me, because once again I produced this, and so with the help of my friend Callum Howe, who's a brilliant string arranger, who I've worked with on a couple of things, including Me and My Radio. He did the string arrangements, I did the other arrangements, and it's one of my favorite things. I think I really like it because it has all the sort of heartfelt maturity and sort of more authenticity that Easy Sailing had, but then it also has like the fun kind of like joyful side, relax please Boris, the joyful side that Me and My Radio has. So for me, it's the perfect meeting. Like, as soon as you've like had a real laugh and found some real excitement and energy from a song, your heart's like melting from this gorgeous string section on the next track, and it just keeps moving. So yeah, I'm really excited to bring it out. It's one of those things where I've spent so long on it. I'm like, I want to release it tomorrow, but obviously, as you said, there's a way of doing these things with a record label, and so yeah.
So.
10 weeks or something.
So, when did you actually start the creating the album? I'm assuming that you probably were in the studios for at least 6 months. So basically, I wrote some of the arrangements about 2 years ago, and I was like, I'm going to keep these up here, or wrote at least a couple of them out for when we do the next record. And then I was asked by a friend in Florida, who's a great singer, a friend of mine called Chris. He wanted to book a session in London and come over and have me produce him and play piano with him. So I said yes. So I booked 2 days in the studio, and I thought maybe I'll use the second day to do some of those arrangements that I wrote ages ago. Mm-hmm. And then Chris had some issues and he couldn't make it over. So I was basically left with 2 10-hour days in the studio. And I was like, oh, wow, okay, I wasn't expecting this, but I was like, I've got like 9 days to go. So I just literally spent 9 days writing out every arrangement idea that I had over the last 2 years. Okay.
And some of them are things I was like, oh, this might be fun, and it turned out really well. And then some of them, like I think what the first track's going to be on the album is an idea that I've had for 2 years, and I've just been so excited to get this out. And but it was a big string idea, you know, it's an orchestral thing, so I knew it wasn't going to be coming to fruition in a year or less. So
okay.
Yeah, it came about in quite a weird way, but I think because of that, we did less rehearsing. I left the musicians to be a bit more free with the interpretation of how they play things. And that's definitely something as I've matured, you know, there was a time when I was like, I've got my ideas and I know what I want to do and everyone should do exactly that. And so I was very strict with what people did and played, and I had a sort of, you know, an unrealistic view of control in terms of like musicians, because they're humans and that's what you want, that's what you pay them for, to give their voice to this music. So yeah, for me it's been a really lovely sort of cycle of like understanding a bit more about myself and what it means, what music means in general. Mm-hmm. And then lots of romantic songs, which is totally my bag, with some great string arrangements and an amazing team of musicians. I'm so excited. Right. And then we kiss.
And then we kiss. And your voice actually carries very well in all the songs that I've listened. It's not, how can I put it? You've got the perfect modality in your tone that it actually doesn't it doesn't turn you off from wanting to listen. There are crooners that I've listened to, and most of them are all in Europe. There's Michael Bublé out of Canada. There's Matt, not Anderson, but Matt. I forgot his name.
I know, in Dusk.
Yes, Matt Dusk, who's.
I thought of that. You said that.
Yeah, well, I did an interview with him almost 2 years ago, and he likes to actually sing, but most of his songs are kind of covers, especially now if you actually go on Spotify. A lot of his music it's him singing, but it's old soul tunes or the tunes that we probably haven't
Stuff
heard.
I've heard is a lot of American songbook stuff
Yeah, exactly.
in a very classic way, which I also really like.
Now, that said, with the album that's going to be hovering above us and probably dropping hopefully in September, apart from you being a musician, but I think I already know the answer to the question because you have two pianos in your house. So, what's your favorite? Do you have time for pastimes or hobbies?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I'm doing an album, I'm so dedicated, and I'm doing everything myself. So the mix is me, the sort of production, like what reverbs and compression and things like that go on. I kind of tend to lock myself away for like 3 or 4 months and sort of hibernate in the studio doing like ridiculously long days.
Mm-hmm.
And I've kind of always done that, and I do kind of really enjoy that. But I mean, in a day-to-day life when I'm not doing a record and not finishing a record, I have a lot of free time. I have a really lovely sort of work-life balance, in as much as I'm on tour maybe 4 or 5 days a month maximum, which means, maybe 7 or 10 days traveling total of the month. So 2/3 of the month I'm at home, being with Miles, working on new songs, like writing drum and bass tunes, going on dates, seeing my family. So I have a really nice work-life balance at the moment, and it's been that way for an awful long time because we basically stopped doing a lot of small shows and just did fewer big shows, and it's lovely for me because it's a bigger venue and it's taken a bit more seriously, but also you reach more people, which is so lovely. I 100% do this job because I want to sort of bring my ideas to more people in the name of joy, so yeah, to play for more people is fantastic, and it's nice for the ego, it's nice for the money's nicer. But yeah, so I have lots of time to do what I want, including, Miles is a toy poodle, so he's what they class as an anxious breed. So he is like, I go make coffee, he comes with me and he's like, where are we going? What's going on? So I do spend an awful lot of time with him. I love food and I love cooking. I like to play video games. I'm definitely also a massive passionate music fan myself. So listening to new music, listening to old music, maybe Baroque music or classical music that I haven't heard before. I'm really into checking out new things. So I have plenty of time, more than enough time for pastimes. I'm very lucky to be doing what I'm doing.
Well, that's good. That's very good. I'm assuming that as a musician, you probably... This is going to be a weird question, and you can say, no, I don't want to answer it. Do you have somebody in your life currently that supports your passion in regards to your own music?
No, not really, no. We're working with a record label called Cartel, who's done the last... who've helped us do the last 2, but they're what they call record label services. So I put in the money, I choose the musicians, I book the studios, I produce the record, and then once we've finished it, we come to them and say, would you like to be a partner in this new record? And we use their workforce to do the admin, the paperwork, the licensing, the submitting to Spotify, the playlisting, the payroll, everything like that. So I don't have a sponsor, but I've done so many of those gigs where as I said, I'm away 5 to 10 days a month, that I just put some money aside from that work, and over the course of a year and a half, 2 years, I have some money left to be like, okay, well, we'll make an album now, and we're very aware that if you don't put music out every 2, maybe 3 years, but I think more like 1.5, 2 years, yeah, you're still a musician, of course, but it's like, bro, what are you doing? You gotta bring out new music. That's what musicians do. That's the path that we're on.
Yeah.
So I'm just quite cautious with money. I don't have a very luxurious lifestyle, but then again, I have sort of everything I need here.
Okay.
So I just budget carefully and then put that money towards the making of it. And you actually asked how long it took to make. Well, there was about a 3-month hiatus on the whole project, because I think it was July, August, September last year, something like that. 3 months, I literally had no gigs, I had no concerts.
Oof.
So I make a bit of money from royalties, and I've done some pop work, which the songs were very popular, and so I make some money there, sort of passively. But for 3 months, I literally had no sort of income, and the business is fine because we're careful, and that's always a possibility. But I was like, oh my god, I can't spend another like £10,000 on string section and recording when nothing's coming in. So I took a bit of a break. I'm being very candid about this because this is jazz music. This is real. There's no record label funding like £100,000 records. So so it took a long time to finish the record because I had sort of the rhythm section done and a demo vocal on, but we still had to do the string arrangements, the string section, the real voice, and then the mix afterwards. So
okay.
Yeah, long time in the making, and I think that's a testament to how much I like it, because I'm still not sick of it, and I should be so sick of it by now.
Why?
I should never want to hear it ever again, but after we finish, maybe I'll listen to the last mixes, the last masters. I don't know.
But I can't see you ever.
Really good, yeah.
I can't see you ever becoming sick, because the fact that you went through everything from day one and then hitting 18 and then going to higher education and coming out of it and knowing that you're worth. You're worth money for people that want to see you. They want to actually hear you. They want to have the energy when you're actually doing it. And the fact that you actually put in that amount of time in your album is going to be tremendously interesting to see what the reaction is. But I have a feeling it's going to be super positive.
I hope so, man.
No, I think so.
I always think about. I went to see. Do you know a comedian called Jimmy Carr?
Yes, unfortunately.
Well, I went to see Jimmy Carr with one of my first girlfriends when I was like 21 or something. And at the end of his shows, I'm assuming he still does it, he said, right, now is the Q&A. So he made us laugh for like 2 hours. Then he said, right, we'll do 15, 20 minutes Q&A. Anyone has any questions, ask me. And after a few questions, there was a bit of silence. And I stuck my head up and said, who's your favorite comedian? And Jimmy Carr said, well, if you're asking me which comedian, living or dead, do I have the most in common with their sense of humor, I would say me. And it was quite funny, but he meant it. And I totally now, as a sort of slightly more mature musician, an artist that's made 4 or 5 albums, I'm like, I totally get that now. And that's why I'm not sick of this album, is because I write the music that I really want to hear. And so the fact that it's me on the record is like almost irrelevant at this point, because it's like the chord changes that I want to play is the string voicings that me and Callum have thought about. It's the beautiful percussion that we've added on top. Yeah, I feel super lucky to be doing what I'm doing, but yeah, I appreciate your positivity, but I think hopefully it'll be valid. We'll see in a few months.
Well, I think it's valid. The fact that you have past albums that are your building blocks to where you're at right now. It's like building a tower of Legos that you decide to put, okay, I want this color there, I want that color there, I want this particular type of design. So.
Yeah.
You have that ability. You're the master Lego man in jazz. So the last question I have is one I ask to all my interviews, but it tends to sometimes boggle them. What's your favorite food dish? And by that I mean specifically, if I gave you a buffet full of foods, but one particular type of food that you would go to first, or almost always, depending on what you have as your own tastes?
That's really difficult. I mean, I really like lots of different cuisines. Italian is, I would say, is my favorite cuisine.
Okay.
But just within that within that one country, there's hundreds of things which I love. I'm going to go super broad and be really general and say the American burger, the American hamburger, just because there's so much you can do with it, adding different salad layers and onions and crispy onions and sauces and, tomatoes or not, or I know that's probably a bit of a cop-out, but...
No, it isn't. You're actually one of the first that actually said that the American burger is your favorite.
What can I say? It's mainstream, a bit like my jazz music.
Well, the burger can be it's almost like jazz or blues. It's an item that actually goes in both, and depending on the chef, like you mentioned that you love to cook, you probably make a mean burger with a mean side, a few options to actually digest the meal tranquilly, possibly a beer pairing or a wine pairing, all depending.
Right. I used to play at a place in London, I won't say the name, but it had a Michelin star, and every week I would play there, they would feed me, and I could choose from the menu what I wanted, and very often it was a Wagyu burger, so it was quite fancy, but it was based on, it was called Le Big Mac. And it was literally, you tasted it and it was like, oh my god, that tastes like an incredible gourmet Big Mac. Like, they got the sauce right and everything was the same. But it was like, I think it was the cost of more than 3 CDs, Yannick.
Oh, so we're but we're
there's burgers and there's burgers and there's burgers,
So basically, it was something around the 3 CDs here in Canada. CDs go anywhere between 15 to 25. If it's a double CD set, then you're looking at almost 40. So we'll say that it's 25 times 3. So we're looking.
I'm about to pay for it myself. I don't think I'm not sure I would. But,
no, that's expensive. That's the cost of a meal for 2 or 3.
I mean, in my lifestyle, right? That's the two mains. But,
well,
yeah.
it can't be worse than the $100 hot dog off the coast of BC, where they literally, it's a beef hot dog, but they inject it with Louis XIV bourbon, which is very highly expensive. So
does it taste very alcoholic?
I don't know. I'm in Moncton, New Brunswick, which is the other side of Canada compared to where BC is, which is completely west. But I remember reading about it. I remember seeing something about it on TV, but no, it's way too fancy for my tastes. I
did have a very sort of fancy girlfriend at one point who had a very fancy lifestyle, and she took me on my birthday. She took me to Salt Bay's restaurant. Do you know that restaurant?
I've heard about it.
The Salt Bay guy, does the salt that comes off. He's like a Turkish entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But it's like the restaurant became famous among sort of like Z-list celebrities because it was just ridiculously expensive and over the top. So the burger that I had was the gold burger, and it was wrapped in edible gold leaf.
Oh wow!
It was like $130 or something. It's stupid. But it was fun. I'll do that once a decade or something like that once a decade. But I don't have very expensive taste usually.
No, that's okay. If you can cook, you cook like a king. So you make what you want, how you want it, and it tastes as great as any good restaurant that costs you less.
Yeah, and then you don't have to get a cab home afterwards either.
There's that. So, Anthony, is there anything that you'd like to tell us before we finish the interview?
I'd like to tell your audience how patient and how nice a man you are, and that I messed up at least one or slash twice, and you were very gracious and patient with me. So I'm so sorry, and I'm really happy we got to have this conversation. Thanks for hanging around and speaking to me.
Well, I'm glad for that. Folks, he's 4 hours ahead of me, kinda. Right now it's 10, right? 3 hours. 3 hours. So right now it's close to 9.
What time is it here? It's just gone 10.
Yeah, well, there we go. So I'll bid you the best of a good night. And if our paths meet eventually here in New Brunswick, well, I'll be glad to go see you live.
Let's have a talk when the new album comes out. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
No problem. I will.
All right.
See ya.
Cheers, Danny. See you soon.